Okay, hello everyone. Welcome back to another prediction. Our final prediction, as a matter of fact. I can't believe it's already the 2024 election in a day, roughly. Here we are. It is about midnight here on, just before midnight here on November 4th, or just before 12 minutes before November 4th. Um, the election is in, we'll say, a day, about 48 hours or so. We will be live from we'll be live from here in about 48 hours, watching the election results come in, watching as the nation votes. We're going to be doing a prediction here. Um, my final prediction. Um, what I think will ultimately happen. My prediction has changed numerous times, as you guys have known. There were one early on. I had Trump winning by a lot, and I had Biden narrowly winning. It kind of has swung back and forth, but now I think I'm ready to make my final prediction. With that, let's go ahead and get into it. I have most of the states filled in already. I should probably go over my reasoning for it. Minnesota, the polling data looks awful for Trump here. As much as I would like to see Minnesota, my home state, go red, that won't happen this election cycle. I just think Trump is, in terms of winning the Minneapolis and St. Paul suburbs. He I don't think he's the right guy to do that, and you need to win those voters to ultimately overpower the voters of Minneapolis and St. Paul proper. Um, for now, I think Harris wins Minnesota by about 6. I think Trump will do better in the rurals, but I think that will be marginally offset by minor gains made in the metro. It will not be as big of a swing from last time. Um, I think the Twin Cities will be stagnant. Um, Development has kind of slowed down in the Twin Cities too. Development a year or two ago was going crazy. Now it has kind of slowed down. So we'll see. New Mexico, I think New Mexico will vote to the right of Minnesota potentially, maybe. I don't know. I think it'll go D plus 7, D plus 8. Um, for the reason of I think Trump will improve with Hispanic voters, and then Virginia, Trump will do better here too, but ultimately it still won't be enough to turn the state red. But I think Trump's performance will be enough to carry different Republican down ballot candidates potentially over the edge. Maybe hopefully Hung Kao could win the Senate race. I don't think he will because he's going up against Tim Kaine. But uh, is he going up against Tim Kaine? Who is he going up against? Is it Tim Kaine? I think it's Tim Kaine. I don't know. Yeah, okay, it is Tim Kaine. All right. It'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to see. The polls don't really display it. Some of them do show it narrowing, but most of them show him down between about 10 to 15. So I'm not surprised. All right, let's get into the actual. Oh yeah, in the Northeast, Maine, and enough yapping. The swing states, the Big Seven, the ones that actually matter. Um, we're gonna start with North Carolina. North Carolina is probably the most likely to vote for Trump out of all these states. It voted for him twice. In 2016, despite polls indicating Hillary would probably win the state, Donald Trump came out of nowhere on election night and carried the state by just under 4. In 2020, the polls projected a Biden plus 2 victory, roughly. Trump won it by 1.5. I would expect Donald Trump to carry the state of North Carolina in this election. Um, I'm not really surprised that I don't know. This is the most conservative of the Big Seven. It is a very important state for him to hold, though, because with a pairing of Georgia and Pennsylvania to a North Carolina, that gets you over the edge, as you can see here. So, but still, I think Trump will win North Carolina. You know, that's kind of the gist of it. Is that it's the most conservative. It voted for him twice. In the 2022 midterms, Republicans did pretty well. They didn't do as well as expected, but that was kind of a national phenomenon, except in Florida, Texas, and New York and California, and to a lesser extent Illinois. But yeah, so still moving on here to its southern neighbor Georgia, not South Carolina, but Georgia. This is a state that a lot of people have been talking about because Democrats actually have somewhat okay early voting data here. But it does look like black turnout is down in Atlanta from what I'm hearing. The Democrats did souls to the polls, and it really didn't move the needle that much. The polls in Georgia also are fairly accurate for a swing state. The polls in 2020, I don't remember what they showed. Let me see what the polls showed in 2020 because the polls in Georgia have historically always been pretty accurate. Um, so right now they show I think Trump up by about 2 roughly. So yeah, the polls RCP. So 538 has Trump up by about 1.5. RCP has him up by about 2. What did they have him up by in 2020? Let me check. I'm looking on the Wikipedia page if you guys want to go see for yourself. Real Clear Politics had Trump up by 1 in their average. He ended up losing. That was literally off by less than a point. And then there was actually 270 to win who got it almost spot on. The polling average had Biden plus 0.2. So the polls were very accurate. And the final poll in Georgia, well, I mean, it was Trafalgar, so never mind. But that Trafalgar was pretty off. But, I mean, the polling in Georgia was accurate. I think Trump will carry Georgia. Um, it's Biden's victory in the state was attributed to incredible black turnout in the Atlanta metro and the surrounding suburbs. Um, I do not think Democrats will get that ever again. That was a fluke. That will probably never happen again. Now, yes, I think Georgia will just turn. I think Georgia will turn into a perennial swing state. I think Georgia could become a North Carolina, where it's consistently very close, but it usually leans titanium Republican. That would be my guess. It's going to go the way of a North Carolina, where it used to be more safe red. It voted blue one time, and then it swung back into the Republican direction. Moving up north here to Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, out of all the big three, the WIMPA states, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. By the way, the WIMPA term was coined by election predictions official Ryan Guest. Just to give credit, I didn't make that up. That comes from him. The WIMPA states. Pennsylvania is the most fundamentally like purple of them all, with Michigan being the most blue, most Democratic, and Wisconsin being the most Republican. Pennsylvania, I think, will. Gun to my head, this is tough. Part of me, there's part of me that has 2022 PTSD, but I ultimately think Donald Trump will prevail in the Keystone State. The early voting data suggests Trump is doing exceptionally well for a Republican. The Democratic firewall has been cut into big time. Um, Trump is also doing a lot better amongst minority voters, which is I forgot to mention that is probably why he might do better in Georgia. Trump is doing better amongst minorities nationwide. Um, he's doing better, especially amongst blacks and Hispanics. He is doing way better um, than expected, for a Republican. Uh, Looking at Pennsylvania just from a standpoint, the demographics of PA are very, very favorable to Republicans. There's a large white working class electorate. However, the problem lies in Philadelphia and Pittsburgh to a lesser degree. Philadelphia anchors most of the state's population, and the suburbs are increasingly becoming more left. However, Philadelphia proper is moving right, and that is partially because Trump is gaining with black voters. I think because of those gains with black voters, and I also think because of Trump um, just doing better around the whole state, I think he will win. It's going to be razor thin, but I think Trump is going to be able to win the Keystone State. I think it might be a little bit more than he won in 2016, or it could even be less. I don't know, But either way, it'll be under 1 point. And, I mean, it'd be cool. I mean, he could win it by more than one. I think that's not outside of the realm of possibility. But we'll see. For now, I think Trump is the narrow favorite in the Keystone State. Michigan, I would say Harris is the favorite. I think Harris will take Michigan by a similar margin that Trump wins Pennsylvania. I think Michigan will have an inverse 2016 where Harris like very narrowly ekes out a victory. Trump only loses by 10 to 12,000 votes. Like, that's kind of what I think. I think it'll be an inverse 2016. Um that's not to say Trump couldn't win Michigan. My only problem with him winning Michigan would be there's just a lot of college educated Democrats live in the Detroit suburbs like Oakland County. Now, Trump did well there in the primary, but primaries like mean nothing at this point in the race. I would guess Harris. My gut feeling says Harris. Or no, my gut feeling says Trump, but my instincts tell me to predict Harris. So that's what I'm going off of. I'm gonna say Harris for this. My gut wants me to say Trump, but I don't know. I mean, the polls have looked fairly favorable, but again, the polls are like wrong all the time, so I don't know. The Badger State, Wisconsin. Okay, Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin is the most fundamentally Republican, conservative of the three WIMPA states. Wisconsin has a fairly, I believe it is majority rural in terms of the voter. Like the electorate is majority rural and suburban. Um, Most of the state is white working class. Democrats do not. Democrats have terrible demography there. Democrats have horrible demography. And I think going into the future, I think Wisconsin will trend red and become a red state. For now, I think it'll stay purple. If I had to guess, my guess would be that Trump would be the victor in Wisconsin, based off of, well, I mean, not necessarily polls because there are. I mean, Trafalgar. Okay, Trafalgar did show a concerning poll that shows him down one. But I don't know. We'll see. Trafalgar is also wrong a lot too. I mean, their margins are usually right though. But for now, if I had to guess, I would predict Trump winning Wisconsin. Very narrowly, just based on the demographics and also the fact that Biden with everything going right for him, only won the state by like 0. I think like 0.4, like 0.6 in an environment that he almost won the popular vote by 5. And with this popular vote being Harris plus 1, Harris plus 2, I think Trump will be the ultimate winner in Wisconsin, just based on that alone. Arizona. Okay. Arizona, I think ultimately again, I've been very doomer. I've been a big Arizona doomer for a while. Um my guess is that Trump is probably going to win Arizona, but it's going to be close. He could win it by more than one. I don't see it. The polls do consistently show him ahead by a lot, though. Harris hasn't led a poll since mid-October, and even then that was a CNN poll. If we're talking like the last credible pollster she led was probably I don't even know. Like the only credible poll that she has led in Arizona would be the Cook Political Report, somewhat. And even then, Cook Political Report kind of sucks. Um, Other than that, most of the polls have showed either a tie or Trump in the lead. I think because of Trump's gains with Hispanic voters, and also, there's also been a big stunt in growth in Maricopa County. I think Trump will ultimately win Arizona. Again, it's going to be very close, but I think he will take Arizona. I think he'll gain enough in the rural parts of the state, and I think Maricopa might move right by. I don't think he'll win Maricopa County. I think it's too far gone, but I think it'll be close enough that it gives him a fighting chance at winning. Finally, Nevada. I think Harris wins Nevada. I'm sorry. I mean, the early voting data looks incredible for Republicans in Nevada. However, I just we've seen this movie before. People forget again. I don't want to compare this to 2022 because that was a completely different election. But I'm gonna compare it to 2022. I'm gonna commit the grave sin of doing that. Republicans actually won the early vote in Nevada in 2022. And then, I mean, now granted, it was, it depended on how much they won by. Joe Lombardo was able to get by running for governor. Um, Adam Laxalt, unfortunately, did not win the Senate race, however. I am still blackpilled on Nevada from that Senate race. I think Trump could very well carry Nevada, especially with that culinary union endorsement, and even who then withdrew his endorsement, endorsed Kamala. He said Trump is likely to win Nevada. He's been pretty correct, but my gut tells me Kamala will win the state. And so, this is my prediction, my final prediction here. Donald Trump wins the election narrowly off the backs of Arizona, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, and Georgia. He flips those states from Biden in 2020. Harris retains Nevada and Michigan, and this paves the way for Trump being the 47th president of the United States. Thank you guys for watching. There will be a Senate election prediction coming soon, so stay tuned for that. But anyways, Godspeed to all of you. Get out and vote if you haven't already. Make sure you vote if you are eligible to vote. Make sure you get out and vote. Do it now. Do it if you absolutely can't vote today on the 4th, vote on the 5th before your polls close. Know what time your polls close. Know what time your polls close so that way, and know what time, if you have anything going, like whether you have to work, if you have to work, or if you have to, or if you're a college kid, what time classes are, or maybe you're a high schooler who's old enough to vote, you know. Make sure you get out and vote while you still can, because time is running out. And we need every vote we can get to get Donald Trump across the finish line. So, Godspeed to all of you. Have a great week, and I'll see you guys Tuesday night. Peace out.